Ready? Okay. Good evening. This is the monthly meeting of the Fraser Park Public Utility District. This is Thursday, April 14th, 2022. We are beginning at 6:01. And let's do the pledge to the flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Kelly?
Here.
Director Nyman?
Here.
Director Schoenberg?
Here.
Director Gibson is here. Discussion, vote, adjust agenda if necessary. Anybody want to make any changes?
RCAC coming? He's here. He's on right now.
Are we maybe going to table the handbook?
Yeah. So I move that we, what number is it? I move that we table item 15 until the next regular meeting, the planning meeting. Due to one director and our general manager not being available tonight.
Okay, someone want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call directors. Director Nyman,
I.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Gibson is an aye, so it is 4-0, 1 absent, right? Okay. Very good. Any other things?
I saw.
I have a question. When we're going to be going through this financial analysis of the Prop 218, and that might take some time, right? Do you think it's necessary for Dee and Oscar?
Yeah, they're gonna have to be here.
Huh?
I think it is because I don't think it's fair to have RCAC, D and Oscar are regular
Okay.
people and D gets paid. RCAC is not getting money to be here, so.
Okay. I just, throwing it out there.
I mean, the only thing I would say is we can move it up one, but I don't think we need to, 'cause I don't think. our
No, I don't think so
table's
either.
gonna
I think
take that
that's-
long.
Okay, public comments. Are there any public comments? Moving on, report of officers. President, I have nothing to report. Vice President?
Just because I think it's not on the, oh, it is still the council. Okay, well, just that, is the financial committee on here? No, so Director Nyman and our bookkeeper and I went over, and Tiffany can address that as well, and we can address that on financial, but we went over the all of the different invoices that hadn't been transferred or had been erroneously transferred. Anyway, we've straightened that all out and made all the transfers. So that was done with our treasurer. I'll do that with the treasurer.
So the transfers are all current?
Transfer should all be perfect. Yes.
Up to claim 14.
Up to 514.
How about claims previous? They're all,
Well, yeah,
the
everything.
transfers are all done, right?
Yeah, everything
So
up to claim
through,
claim 14.
got it, okay. Secretary?
That's Jerry.
Huh?
That's Jerry.
Absent.
Oh, duh, okay.
I know, I'm confused too.
Okay, I will wake up anytime soon, but I'm not promising. Treasurer?
Just like Lisa said, we did all the transfers and got them up to date, so. And I guess we'll talk during financials, I have to ask. some
Yeah, I have
questions.
a bunch of stuff for financials, but
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be expensive. Okay, JPIA representative?
There is something that I may need your assistance on.
Okay, what's
So
that?
we could talk about that also in the financials, because we got a big thing from JPIA that you'll have to look over,
Okay,
okay?
okay, that sounds great. Okay. Board member initiatives? None. Managers report, he's not here. Are you doing it? Tiffany?
I will just say that I spoke to Johnny earlier today. His wife is having medical issues, and so she had a surgery, so he's home with her, making sure that she's okay. And we talked about a number of items, but I can bring them up when they come up on each agenda item. So
Okay,
he filled me in, and then Dee has a lot of information for us. So I asked him the questions that I thought might come up. But as far as the actual report itself, I don't think there was anything extra. Oh, actually, there was one other thing. We have one employee in the field right now because one is out on family leave. So he was just telling me that, but we're doing well. Things are covered.
Not only.
and is the one that's out in the field, is he the lead?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Or least.
Administrative assistance report.
I only have two things. I finished a LIHWAP application, so our agency was approved. So as soon as that program's up and running, any of our residents would be able to apply for assistance, and then we'd get paid directly for any back water bills. And the second thing is, I've been working the last couple of days with Scott, the auditor. He had some additional questions and information that he needed, and I was able to provide that to him, so that's still moving forward.
Now,
Okay.
on,
Director Nyman.
now on that program, how are we going to notify the public?
So there's a website that they have us refer people to, but anything that you guys want to actively do, I guess we can put it in an agenda item. I can put it on our website and then link that state informational.
Right, and
But
maybe,
if you want
maybe,
to-
I would put an
Anything else?
agenda item so that we could vote on whether we want it in paper or something like that.
yeah, I think
We
it's
gotta,
something.
we gotta, other than our website.
Yeah,
I'll make it an agenda item.
Okay,
and what's the time frame they have to get it in by?
The program, once it begins, is set to end, I think they said August of 2023. So it's a limited funding,
Right,
but anybody who needs the assistance, they don't apply through us, they just go directly through the state.
right,
They apply and then they'll
So it's
get
a
approved.
one-off, they can only
It's a
apply
one-time
once,
only,
but they can apply up until the
up
cutoff.
until August of 23 or the funding runs
So
out.
we'll want to make that clear to them probably. if there's
and they'll
something.
cover 1 month, right?
No, they'll cover all back water bills up to $2,000, but just one time.
from what date? For what date?
There's no date
Back
requirement.
until the cutoff of 2023.
But backdating, that's what you're
Yeah,
saying, right?
you're going
Well,
how far back? It doesn't
No,
matter. They have no,
but nothing forward.
no, it has to be their past due water bills.
Past-
So any
Past
past
due
due
from-
amount
from
up to
this-
$2,000.
From what date?
No, there is no from what date. It's open.
Probably from the date they apply
No.
back.
Yeah, I mean, there's no beginning. As long as we show them having a past due amount, they can even be locked off and have a past due amount,
What
but they
I'm,
can apply.
what I'm saying,
Am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, I think
Okay, I
you're saying
apologize.
how long,
I'm
so
kind of concerned about somebody deciding to,
not pay and then get them to pay.
Well, that's a
That could happen.
possibility. That is a possibility.
But that happens with a lot of different programs, so.
okay,
Okay.
but we'll lock them off if they go.
Right.
Ad hoc committee reports, project committee.
Okay, so Director Garcia is not here, but we did meet with the state last month. And that helped us to resolve the whole going out to bid issue that's already happened. So we did award the bid. We're not going out to bid, but awarding the bid. The warrant, well, we were waiting on quite a few things in that project committee. Their agenda items that are gonna come up. So I'm just gonna say, they'll all come up as agenda items because there's stuff about the appraisals and all that.
Sounds good. Accounts payable committee.
Go ahead, Terry.
We met, we went through our regular bills and discussed what we needed to do with the bookkeeper, and she cut the check and we'll pay them in financials.
How's it coming together for you, Sarah?
It's good, yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm learning a lot, and I understand this big packet thing now that we get.
I'm impressed.
So, yes,
I've never understood it. I'm very impressed.
yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, book asset detail committee.
So we did actually meet a couple of times, and we didn't meet the last time because I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't feeling well, so we are going to reschedule another meeting. We have we did make the adjustments that were needed for Scott as far as categories and also the we had the whole issue with the over 1,000, under 1,000 assets. So the current stuff for our 2021 audit is all taken care of. We also did go through and start to make some changes on the categories. And so that's also, that's just at the beginning stages. And then I'm working some at home, and then I've shared the Excel spreadsheet with Director Nyman and with Deborah Angel. And so we're gonna start slowly going through all of that and trying to reconfigure things. So, and remove things.
So you made some progress.
We made some progress. Yeah, even though we said we weren't gonna address it until May, we already addressed it. And we're
Yeah,
moving
thank you. Budget committee, well, we're not meeting till when?
I think we're not meeting until like May. Which is
Yeah, I think
very
that was,
soon, next month.
Yeah, you guys are meeting in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we need to start
We need to
meeting,
start
I think in
Figuring a
May,
calendar.
because we need to have everything done by, it'd be nice if we had everything done by July, end of June, so.
are any of your other ad hocs gonna give you any? How
Yeah,
is
it
this
should.
stacking up for you?
It should be fine, I think, because that will become a priority so that we can get through. And we've already done the, we have that 5-year budget online already. So
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna take that and just do less changes. So I don't think it'll take as long.
That
Hopefully.
sounds good.
That's my hope.
Treasurer committee.
And that's the one I was talking about where we went over everything. I believe that we can disband
Yes.
that ad hoc now, if you're good with that. Director Lyman?
Yeah, the only question I had was, have we made the, for this year, have we put in, the withdrawals for our, like, reserve?
Yeah,
line?
okay, so let's not disband it. Yeah, we need to meet one more time so I can go over all that with.
Cause I don't know what's done. and
Yeah,
what's
it's
not
all
done.
automatic and it goes until October. So in October, we need to, actually, there's stuff in April too. Ooh. I just realized we're in April.
Yes.
Okay, I need to double check to make sure because we have a payment
And
that's
in the,
due very shortly, I think tomorrow. But I forgot all about that. I don't think we paid yet, so I need to get with Deborah about
and I don't
that.
think we transferred it. Did we transfer money into that account?
No, it's got $30,000 in it, but it's more than that. So yeah, I need to transfer that tonight, or you need to transfer that tonight.
Okay.
So we probably need, the problem is that we don't have that information. I forgot all about that.
Well, we can look at what the previous transfers were and just go over that for now and let them take and then transfer it back out.
Yeah, I think we are gonna need to.
We
It's
don't want
not
to balance.
on here. I think we need a poll. We can't really do a vote, but an okay from the rest of the directors that we transfer appropriate. We have 30,000 that's extra that's been sitting in there because I left it in there because I didn't know why that had been calculated that
We
way.
take from our revenue operating, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and we should have enough. So, but we need to do both. This is a, I need to look up if it's, Deborah, do you know if this is interest in principal or if it's just, probably you don't know.
It's just,
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with what you're discussing.
Just
We're-
principal?
We're talking about the
from what I
bonds.
remember,
Okay, so the
principal is October and the interest only is April.
interest only. Okay, so I dropped the ball on that. I forgot because we're so used to the bookkeeper reminding me. But we have a payment due on all 3 USDA loans. And Tiffany says it's the interest only, not the principal and interest. So we have 2 payments. One is always due in October and one is due in April. And usually I set that up ahead of time and they are supposed to remove it on, I believe, the 15th, which is tomorrow.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. yeah,
You're right.
I lost track of time. So, so I think Director Nyman and I need to stay after the
Good thing
meeting and make a
Good thing
transfer.
I brought it up.
Yeah, really good thing you brought it up. And yeah, because that's an automatic debit from our payment account. So we're going to transfer, so we just need an okay to transfer what we think, and it's gonna be over the amount. We're gonna transfer what was due last. I actually have it on the budget, so if I can look up the budget, I have the amounts. So I'll go on the budget after the meeting and,
Well, wouldn't that show in history in?
no, but it's in, yeah, but that's not the right amount. I have the right amount because I did that 5-year budget, so
Okay,
I
okay,
actually have the right amount for every time.
okay.
Or thereabouts. It was 30,000 over last time based on our previous bookkeeper, our 2 bookkeepers back's information, but I have basically the right amount. So we need to look that up and then make the transfers this evening before we leave.
Okay.
So is the rest of the board okay with us doing that?
Yes, please do that.
Okay.
We don't need to be overdrawn.
Okay, so don't disband the treasurer ad hoc yet.
Not yet, okay.
No, we couldn't do it anyway. There are
Yeah.
not enough
Not-
members to make a motion.
Okay.
Okay. Please forgive me. Discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information.
And
You
so
need a
Deborah, what we were just talking about, we will go over with you because that's something that we do need to track every time and be reminded of. Just so you know, but we'll do
Okay.
that at a later time.
We'll do that together so we can all, so I can learn.
Okay, thank you.
I can't come because,
Okay, Deborah, we're into financials, so
Deborah,
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we issued 3 checks totaling $20,075.25 from the meter well account on claims 1 and 2. There was a check to D Jasper for $1,944. Another check to D Jasper for $9,688.75. And a third to D Jasper for $8,442.50. And then out of the planning account, we issued 9 checks totaling $10,788.
And Deborah, before you list those, there's a couple I was mentioning to Tiffany, but I mentioned to you as well. A couple of these invoices are a little weird in that like the second one on your check detail has a C on the invoice number, but it's not a C. C is supposed to be only items that are not claims, that don't have anything to do with the planning. And
Okay,
actually claim 12. So it's something that they're just confused about. D, you're still a little bit confused there with your change in bookkeeping. So so there's a couple here that I found. There's at least one, but I think there's more than one that are, yeah, there's more than one. So that's something that's like at least 3 that have C's, and then there's this B5, which I don't understand. So, so that's something we can go over later. We can pay everything, but I think we just need to make sure that we fix that so that it doesn't continue. I think it'll be confusing for people who come after us.
okay, and it could very well be my confusion because those were letters, handwritten alphabet that were at the top of the invoices, next to, I think, the account number. And I erroneously just pulled them into the invoice number. So I probably need more training on that.
Okay.
Okay. So the extraordinary amounts, there was a check in the amount of $3,957 for invoice 2110012, claim 12. And the only other extraordinary amount was for check number 10049 on invoice 2110011, and it was $3,366 for claim 12.
And those are all reimbursements to these of invoices that we had before.
Right, actually, those were not paid, so those are all claims. We got the money from the state, and Dee's been waiting a while on some of those.
Thank you, Dee.
I don't think any of them are actually reimbursements, are they?
It's all one, there was one. The first one, I think it is. He held the check.
Oh, there's one for what's the amount? 300.
I thought it was the first one.
$297, check number 10045.
That was a reissue of a check that we had made, with payment we had made earlier, but the check had become outdated.
All right.
Okay, and all the rest were us paying on claim money we have now received. So some of them are old though, and thank you, Dee was patiently waiting for them. And one of the large ones was for the hydrologist report, hydrology report. So actually there were a couple for hydrogeological. But they're all, we've gotten up to claim 14 now in our accounts.
Hey, go ahead, Deborah. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, no, that's fine. Moving on, out of operating revenue account, we issued 38 checks for a total of $90,823.80. And the extraordinary payments include, there was an ACWA payment for the RSF liability for $10,329.43.
And that's a yearly, I believe.
And is that going forward for liability? Because I thought we paid, so that's forward, right? So that's
That's the one that
That I was
I-
saying that I was gonna have to talk with
Perry about.
Director Gibson.
Yes.
So yeah, I had some questions about that just because it was so much money, but I mean, I know it's our liability stuff, so I guess we'll, Director Gibson and Director Kelly will
Yeah,
discuss that, and then we'll have
Here's the original. so
more
you can look at
information
it.
on that.
That's something you can review.
Yeah, when should we do it? Right now?
No, because we've got to pay it, so, but I'm hoping you can help me understand what is going on, and then if I have to make a call to get even further clarification, I can do that. But we are gonna have to pay it one way or the other.
Okay, moving on, there was another ACWA JPIA payment for the employee benefit, $9,927.30. Coastline equipment in the amount of $3,599.19.
And that was for work on, excavate on some of our equipment.
On the John Deere.
And then we had a disbursement to D Jasper for $5,735.27 for the generator project. And there were 3 invoices from Ferguson Enterprises totaling $6,218.66.
And do we have, just quick question on the generator project, we have that as a class code, correct? So,
Yes.
okay, yeah, because that, I know that we hadn't anticipated all of the work that's going into us trying to get generators that don't wet stack. So I think that we're gonna run higher on the engineering than we had originally anticipated. So I just wanna, but as long as that's something we could pull out and check, that's great.
Sorry. Let's see. And then there were 2 invoices for P&J Electric. And one of the items is going to need to be added to the asset list, the Nitrotax Plus.
Yeah, that's a nitrate analyzer.
Okay, for $28,499.28. And then the last item is the Southern California Edison bill, which was $7,045.94, which is up roughly $700 from last month.
Yeah, I saw that went way up. And just a quick note on the nitrate analyzer, that's probably gonna end up being under, in our new classification, under well 5, along with the foreman hours, because that's paying for installation of that nitrate analyzer.
The class code under well 5.
It's, the class code is gonna probably end up, I didn't bring that with me tonight, but, yeah.
Okay,
Under source of supply.
oh, source, okay.
Source of supply, but then it's a sub.
And it'll have its own number.
Correct. Which
Okay,
we haven't done yet.
okay.
Okay,
And that is the end of the extraordinary payments, if there aren't any questions.
I just have a few things. So, and I'm just putting this out there so that we don't forget about it. So first of all, I believe the bank made a mistake again and charged our general fund $35 instead of our operating revenue for the scan check fee. So there's nothing under operating revenue, but it's under general fund, which it shouldn't be. But operating revenue has a $20 confirmation of balance. The reserve account has a $40 confirmation of balance, which makes no sense because all the other ones have $20. I think we need to check with our auditors and make sure which accounts they actually got confirmations on.
Pretty
Because-
much all of the accounts had a $20 confirmation fee on the same date, which was 3/2. And
Right.
so I presumed that that had something to do with the auditors. But I don't know why that one account was charged $40.
They
Unless,
don't all have it. One of them has the 40. General fund doesn't have it. Luckily, the zero balance accounts do not have it, or we would have bounced.
Right.
But yeah, it's not on every, it's a little inconsistent, so I would like to check with them. And then I just want to put it out there so we remember, the meter well account is still $13 short. The bank never refunded us. And the pipeline account is still $13 short. And those two did not have a balance confirmation. So I just,
Well, I checked all these, so I think maybe you and me go over and talk to Sherry.
yeah, so I guess as the treasurer, so again, it's a good thing we didn't disband the ad hoc, because I think that we need to deal with some of this. So anyway, that was one note I had. And then the other note, which I think we could do as the treasury, and then Director Nyman can explain that to Director Kelling, since we can't all be in the room at the same time. But I think we need to start, because we're probably in good enough shape to start doing a year-to-date P&L. So right now, we just have the monthly P&L, but in the
okay,
we always had a year-to-date P&L, and we also had an actual versus budget P&L, so that we could see where we were in actuality versus our budget projection. So I know we didn't do that, and I appreciate that we didn't do that thus far, because we were worried about reconciling everything, but I think I looked everything over and it looks really good. So I think we're probably at a point where we can add those two things.
so for the next,
Yep.
the next
Yeah.
meeting in May, we'll
Crazy.
add those two financials.
Correct.
Okay,
And that's all I had.
That's it? I just want to say, Deborah, I know I've mentioned it before, but the way you do this check detail is so beneficial. It really cuts down on the amount of questions I have, and I really appreciate it.
well, thank you.
One-
With the help of everyone in the office and the directors, I'm learning.
One thing I would like to bring up that I think we should talk about, having some sort of inventory list on the stamps, because we're spending $1,100 a month on stamps, and we need to somehow have when we're doing a mailing, we take this many rolls out and write it down, and when they're gone out here, then do some sort of inventory, because it seems like, because I know the one mailing alone is 1,300. There's 1,300, what do we have? 1,300 businesses and
Residents.
and residents. And that comes to like $715. So I'm assuming the other stamps are they, what are we spending that other?
It's not 1,300 mailing, it's 15 plus another, I want to say 200. Because there's 15 in the member side account, and we
Okay,
also mail them to the owner side, which is another 200.
okay.
So
So we're doing like,
I may be off like 100, but roughly about 1,700 is how many we're mailing every month.
So I think we always have some extra stamps, but we're mailing quite a few, so I
yeah,
don't
so
know.
it's $935
Yeah,
a
so we
month.
should have about $300 extra stamps a month, or 200, something.
So yeah, we're doing like 1127 or something.
And then we still have, well, no, because all the notices go out of our money that we have at the post office, right? So the
The
stamps are,
postcards is the permit.
right.
Right, but do we do what about
The
the
lockout.
shut off, lock off notices and all that?
So
We have to
the
send a letter.
discontinuation notices, we send anywhere roughly about 125 a month on that.
Okay,
So we have those. That's a monthly mailing.
So we're
And all the
using quite a
stamps
few
are-
of the stamps.
The bulk of the stamps were all kept in the fire safe. Tanya has a role because of her mailings.
Correct.
Deborah
Okay.
has,
All right, I'm just bringing it up because I want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on it. It just is, because of the state, we're spending an exorbitant amount of money on postage.
right, yeah, they're all kept in the safe. There's quite a few in there.
Okay, all righty. Sorry.
Well, we'll be spending that much at least until July, right?
Well,
And we
Until,
quit sending out
until,
notices?
the state tells us that we have a year worth of nitrate that's low enough.
that's low up to 80%.
Mhm.
And we had one that was just over the 8%, so we got to start all over again.
Oh,
So it's killing us. Financially, it's hurting us.
okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
I want one more thing before I forget. Deborah, on, page 1 of the credit card detail for the fuel, there's just a typo on the truck. It's not, it doesn't change anything, but it says truck 27. I think it's supposed to be 227. Just before I forget to tell you that, because I'll forget.
Okay, wait, let me find it.
It's, the Voyager credit card detail.
My hands are so slick here. I'm almost there. Okay, I see it.
It doesn't change anything, it's just so we have it, correct?
Okay. 227. Okay,
Okay, so with that, I'd like to move that we pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Roll call directors, Director Nyman, Director Killen,
Aye.
Director Schellenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye. 4-0-1 absent. Moving on, number 9, discussion vote on the district financial analysis and the Prop 218 public hearing. Okay, that's,
David's here with us.
hello, David.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you want me to present the whole study or you just want me to answer questions? I would,
I don't know if you have to present the whole study, although I don't know.
He did that before.
I read, yeah, you did it, and I read through as much as I could. I did have some questions in regard to, I don't know if anyone else wants you to present the whole. No.
I can highlight it and then,
Maybe highlight it again just for the benefit of our public.
okay, let me bring up. Let's see, share screen. You're gonna have to let me share screen.
I'm working on it, give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, it's on.
Okay. Okay, you should be seeing the study. Now. All right. A lot of the verbiage is pretty close to what you saw last time. So I'm going to skip over some of the verbiage part and get down to, this is just all the stuff going to the state because we have to send this off to the state. And the state's already seen this and they're happy with it. They had no comments, which is good. What I do want to highlight is down here, when you had this done in 2016, your MHI was 43,000. when we did this in 2020, you had dropped 10 grand. So you were in
That's from
your
the
constituents. Your constituents are in a harder position. Hence, that kind of drives the whole rest of the report. And this is still open right here because you have to set a date. So, but basically, we're just trying to show to everybody that they're not getting the 10% because they can't afford the 10%. So the sacrifice is you're going to be putting a little less away for into your CHIP program. Okay.
You know what that percentage is that it went down? It went down, well, $10,000. That's huge.
That's huge. That's 25% drop. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And it has come up a little bit. I think in the 2019 one, because this was 2018 and 2020. 2019, you came up about $500 or $600, but it's still basically 10 grand, 9 grand below where it was in 2016.
Right, that was our concern, and that was why in 2019 and 2020, we didn't raise the rates.
Yeah, and it's justifiable. You're in, and then COVID hit, which made it even worse. And now inflation hit, which makes it even worse. But the whole point of it is pointing out to the state, and they normally want to see you fund the CHIP 100%. They understand that you're doing the best you can do in your positions right now. Okay. And this is pretty much, all this is pretty much just standard language that goes in each one, and it just kind of talks about what we called a rate study when we started this is now called a financial analyst. So, and disclaimer just says that that RCA does it on whatever you provide us for information. All right. That just shows in the perfect world how everything flowed to get information. But you guys are smaller, so it flew a lot more direct. So let's get down to particulars. You know your system, and there again is the MHI for what we're doing right now. I just threw in some maps so the state has a better idea of your system. So, okay. This just basically tells everybody that more than 90% of your money is derived from your residential meters. This is your rates, your current rates. This just talks about your current rates, and we did not change anything on water usage this time. We're only doing it on the base side because then people can count on exactly how much they're paying more. Okay, this is just again a longer version of your base rate of what you pay right now in fees, where you are right now. This is the proposed. Here's where we propose the increases.
David, can you stop for a second?
Yeah.
Because Tiffany's answering, and
Oh, sorry about that.
you're in the.
Do I need to back up or anything?
No.
No,
We had a question and she's answering somebody's question. But it messed up our screen.
Got it.
That was a
It's
question online?
Yeah. So there was some audio issues.
people aren't able to hear very well, and I said I apologize that our system is just a little bit simple, but later on in the agenda, we'll be talking about some better equipment.
So you can go ahead and go over this particular proposed rate structure. And we've already.
Okay. This is where we kicked in, and you elected last year to hold to not raising things. So that's basically where we started. So you stayed there. This is 1%, 2%, then 3 and 3. So that people can look at the difference and see how much more they'll be paying according to their meter size. And no, you don't have any 3 or 4 inch meters. That just, if you had them, that's what it would look like.
That's the initial base rate, that, we've kept the, how much they use, 100 cubic feet, usage rate at the same level.
Yeah, 236. We're not changing that this time. I do recommend, though, that when you get to the end of this 2025, I do recommend you guys look at the financial position of the Fraser Park and see about, because you're going to have to eventually raise things up. You're close. We'll get there in a minute. Conservation factor, you're not raising a lot, so you're not going to have people conserve a lot. Conserving water won't make any difference to base rate. Community growth factor, you haven't had much growth and you're not really planning much growth talking to your staff. So that was really kind of null and void. It didn't really factor in much. Okay, these are the proposed new fees. And we went over this already, but basically the biggest change here is the 7-year abandonment fee. Everything after 3/4 inch meter, you were losing a ton of money. And we're noting for really big meters that will do the 750 plus materials, the meter or the shutoff valve or both, if it takes both, because once it sits in the ground, it's history. It's not going to be a good meter. So instead of having one fee for everything, it's based on meter size now. Some of the charges stayed the same. Some of them went up. I backed the standby fee back to $5 because according to your attorney, you've talked it over with your attorney, it can't not be addressed in the 218. So you're going to have to go through whatever the attorney says to get that up to a higher fee, because that's a parcel fee, and parcel fees can't be done through the 218 process.
All right, and we actually voted on that, David, so we're holding off on moving forward at all on that until such time that we actually do the consolidation with Lakeland Woods. And if that happens, then we'll address it.
Yeah, that's why I backed it down just back to the $5. I just left it off this one. So, all right, this is kind of just standard language. This is what talking to the ad hoc committee, how you would go about financing at certain levels. So under 20 grand, you'll pretty much do it out of your budget. 20 to 100 grand, you'll try to do 25% cash and try to, if you needed a loan, you do 75%. Anything over 100,000, you're going to try for grants. And just because we put loan here doesn't mean you're not going to try for grants there either. You could try for a grant on any of this stuff. The fact that you're low MHI and you're trying really hard and you have a good budget and everything, it kind of fits you up there for getting grants. So you have they don't like us to recommend you to count on grants, but realistically, you guys are in a position where grants are an option. This just talks about the asset inventory table. You can go to the exhibits towards the end. They're actually in here too, but and this is where we talk about, eventually, if you can't get grants, you're going to have to pay for it out of house funds. So again, increases would have to happen to cover that if you get out future loans. So. All right, budget. Budget was based off your 2020 and there's not really much here that's any different. So how you move the money around in this thing, the report just tells you to move the money around. You guys have already moved the money around. So it's, and some of it's already spent. By default, you've already done a lot of CIP because you've done a lot of stuff with the new well and stuff. So this is just talking about where the bank account was then and recommending what you do with it. And you already did that. You already moved money over and you actually changed these categories. This is the spreadsheet categories. You have your own names for these categories now. So they're just suggestions. You guys have already done that. Okay, let's get down. If I'm going too fast, okay, fixed first variable. Basically, when we look at all your assets and all your expenses, we look for the base rate should cover what it costs you to run, okay? And your variable will cover anything after that. So there's a formula in here, and it's, if you read through, you'll see how it's based in here. But right now you're 76% based on your expenses are fixed and 24% are variable. Example of that is your electric bill. You need it, but it's variable by the demand and them raising rates and stuff. So any questions on that?
No.
Okay. All right, let's get down to the calculations. This thing right here, basically, this kind of goes back into when we were talking about hookup fees and stuff. This is how they go about calculating who should pay their fair share of that base rate. And to cover that base rate, they look at how much water your meter is going to use. So over here, you have your number of meters in the category. You have the gallons per minute for that meter category according to AWWA. And then you have the calculations. And what it's basically saying is the 3/4 inch meters should have a base rate somewhere around $71. You'll note that in our other table that by the time we get to 2024, we're at that rate right there. Okay, so you've positioned your increases to cover this right here. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And this is what is considered the fair share of the system for those meter sizes for each person's account.
So basically, by the time we get between 2024 and 2025 at the far
Yep.
end of this, we're going to be exactly where we should theoretically be.
Yep, you'll be at 72 something. I'm sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head. We'll get there. But just notice, theoretically at 71, you'll get there, okay?
Now, I
Sorry.
have a question, but it's part of this next chart. So so we didn't change anything in 2021 because we had just started the study. We're now mid 2022 almost, and we still have to go through everything we need to do to adopt this and have our community vote. And I'm just wondering how that works, because even though we have that 1% increase, even the soonest we would be able to start charging on that 1% increase maybe at the end of the year. Or maybe we don't get to charge on it at all and we just go to the 2023 rate. So how does that affect us?
Not much, because it is only 1%. And actually, you can put in the language that once you go through the hearing and there isn't enough protest, that this fee can increase the next day. or the next billing cycle. That's all you have to do. You just have to tell them a date when it's going to start. So if you go out 2 months, this would be starting in July. So it'd be basically if you were on a fiscal year, June, July to June, July, you'd get 0.5% back, but you'd be missing 0.5%. And when we get down there, I'll give you a better idea number wise, but it just means you won't be in the hole as much. It doesn't change the 2, 3, and 3s. Those all will be there. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay.
so basically, I mean, in the past, we always instituted this in January of the following year, so we're not going to do that because in January, it's gonna go up to the 2%. So, we may only collect like a month or two of this.
Can you put it up to the chart, David, please?
This one. Okay. Right now, like in 2022, if you run through you give it all the timeline, July 1st, you could impose the 1%. And then you could tell them January of 2023, you're going to do 2%, January of 24. You just have to tell them. It doesn't have to be a year after each one. You tell them where 1% is going to start and each time after that. So if you like to do it on the year basis for 23, 24, 25, that's how I would do it. That way you'll have the most minimal impact. You'll start getting a little more money for the next 6 months and then in January, you'll move to 2%, then 3%, and then 3%. That makes sense?
So basically, though, there's a possibility that it's not really going to increase much, if anything, this year, because I don't think it's going to be done by July, maybe if we're lucky. But, at the most, it's going to be maybe 5 or, a few months worth of the 1% increase. So, okay, yeah.
Most people in their language put in that 30 days from this or first billing cycle after this, the hearing is the first increase. And then they pick either first of the year or the fiscal year for each one after that. And so that's up to you guys how you want to word it. But,
I mean, we would do it after the hearing, and then we would start 2023 in January. Because that's the way we.
Right, I'm just saying we're probably only gonna do a couple of months worth at the 2022 rate.
Well,
Like most of 2022 is gonna be at the same rate that 2021 was, because we're already in the end, mid-April.
Yeah, and when we get to the table that shows money, you can look at how much you wouldn't be putting away. So, but and reality is, this is money for your savings account, not money for your day-to-day running of the system. Because remember, once you decide on CHIP, that savings account gets put into the formula as, this is what we're meeting for total, fiscal health. So.
Okay, so I'm sorry, another question. So as far as our actual operating expenses, we've taken that into account. So the hit would not be in our operating expenses. The hit would just be put away in our CHIP.
Yeah, you're not putting away as much in your savings account, basically. That's all you're doing. So this whole formula is based on putting away X amount of dollars for the future. Okay. And because most of us, when we balance our budget, we don't consider our savings. We balance our budget and put money in savings. But the idea behind a city or a district doing a CHIP is you move the savings into the budget so that you're basing your gains and losses off of putting away money for the future. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, again, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, and 3. And we're talking about not changing this. So again, when you go 5 years out from now or 4 years out from now, you might be changing this along with some percents up here, but that's future one. All right. So basically, again, we're saying we're not changing the usage. You guys still see me?
And yeah, and because we're still in a drought, it's not likely that, so people will be able to calculate based on what they spent for their cubic, the amount of water use that they've had this year.
Yeah.
Because
And if they conserve on that side, it's not going to affect the base rate. You're trying to gather most of your income from the base rate now. Okay. Now here's where we get down to the pluses and minus. And no, you're only negative because it's telling you it wants you to put away that much more money. Okay. So that 1%, you'll be short putting away basically $68,000. So you'd have probably around 300,000 going into your chip instead of 359 if it's at that point. So this is just saying you're short on fully funding what the spreadsheet says the chip should be. This is saying here's what you'll gather in your savings account towards the chip. So you're basically putting $1.75 million away for chip, and you're missing 300 and something thousand on that 5-year budget. That makes sense?
The first thing that I was confused on, and I think when we do the public hearing, that they just need to understand is when it says balanced budget, no, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have a balanced budget. It means that because we're including that capital amount that we're putting away every time, it's not balanced. But the reality is we can have a balanced budget. It's just not, this is always going to say no because we're counting that money, we're stocking away for future expenses.
That's right. That red just means you can't quite put enough away right now. That's all it means. And that's what I'd kind of show the public that they're putting away what they can, and we understand, we're still going to have to make up that deficit someday, Now a grant could wipe all that out. Because if they grant you some money to replace a bunch of water lines, then you're not. This money is going to go a lot longer, or a lot further. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that is happening right now because we do have some grants in the pipeline. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So you guys are actively pursuing grants. That's what you want to sell people versus putting this burden, even higher burden, on the public. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, now we get to affordability, and here's why. You guys are at 2.6. You're right on around 2.5 or better is considered. They want you to be at least 1.5 on affordability up to 2.5. Some people say as high as 5, but we like to say 2.5% of somebody's budget should be spent on water. Okay, so if you increased it more, you'd be pushing their affordability. It'd be less affordable for them. So by pursuing grants, putting away what you can, you're doing your best to balance the budget with the economy you have. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And taking into account the fact that they are now bringing in a lot less money in Fraser Park than people used to.
Yeah, you drop 10 grand. That's 25%. I mean, you drop my budget 25%. That would severely impact me. So. Now this is. Okay, this chart's kind of I don't like this chart, but I have to live with it because it's what's in the spreadsheet. But it's basically just telling you where your savings account is according to what you do with revenue. So, it wants you to always save a little more than you're actually bringing in. And then it's showing how much of the contributions are building up in the account. And purple's actually showing you spending during it. And then you can see the reserve balance keeps growing, but it drops here. Well, that's because around year 5, according to the spreadsheet, you should already be starting to put in some pipeline projects, because otherwise you're going to end up with that problem you had with going out to get USDA loans. They'll say you have too much money. So as soon as you pick a threshold of how much is in that account, you need to go out and put it in the ground. And this is putting that blue line, that blue column in the ground. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't like it. It's I don't like how it shows up, but it shows you doing your, it levels out here because you're going to start that money you save. Now we're going to go out and fix the lines. Okay. And that's what you need to get across to the public.
Nitrate annual.
All right, this is just the base rates again, because they want me to put in estimated bill because they're talking about what it costs per person. And again, they can see, again, remember, we're aiming for 71. By year 5, we're 72. So right in here, we pass where everybody should be paying their fair share. It happens here. And then it just gets into the next steps. You want to put out the 218 notice. You want to put out, you guys got to pick the date. It's got to be at least 45 days after the notices are mailed. So you need to figure out when you're going to send out the notices. And then the hearing can be 45 days after that. So realistically, you can have this. You've got May and June. You could have this out there happening before, you could actually have that hearing happening before July 1st. But that's up to you guys. You guys have to let me know available. Okay. And that's it. The rest is amendments. And amendments, this just talks about how to go about putting the stuff in. These are just exhibits. You can put the whole report out to people or just give them the report, or if you don't want to give them all the amendments, because these are just sample things. And I had to include them because it's what the state wants to see. So like, here's your budget or your assets.
I was gonna ask,
if
Damon, is it possible to send just the asset page, it's just one page, a little bit bigger or something to Director Nyman and to myself, because we're working on we're kind of redoing a bunch of our assets, and it'd be helpful for us to be able to see this a little bit more clearly, I think. I'll
just send you, I'll send you a copy of the spreadsheet, that part of the spreadsheet.
I'll get everybody.
And then this budget is based off of your expenses and how you had them categorized in 2020. So the trick here, the only thing I want to point out is we put your payment you're talking about this tomorrow. That's in this category, interest, and it's not in principal, which is at the bottom of this. So some places it shows up all as one. Here it's showing up in 2 different places. You guys put it in 2 different places. So, and the little purple tells you that it's broken down into each of the 3 loans. So if you want to know where it is, But this forecasted budget is just so the state can see where you're going with your money, because your forecasted budget is slightly different categories than this. This is just recommended. You guys are ahead of the game. You already have a 5-year budget. So, and again, it just shows money growing, shows expenses in the past. This is just more of the pluses and minuses. Gives it to the total expenses. That was just your bulk sales. I'm starting to lose connection. So somebody, Tiffany, call me on my phone if I lose connection, please. All right. Again, we get down to the net losses and gains, but again, it has more to do with, you know, this red is what is the wish list. You wish you were higher here.
Oh, where is it? I don't,
How can he be driving with his computer?
he probably has like something going in and out on his network.
He hasn't dropped yet. We can give him a minute, see if it comes back.
I think that pretty much explains everything. I mean, my biggest question was how we're gonna deal with this in 2022, because we still have to go out. You know, there's still a lot of work to do before we can even vote.
Yeah, so he says, 30 days from our hearing.
45 days.
Okay,
No, but 30 days from our hearing. Our
Oh.
hearing is 45 days after we send the notices out.
Yeah, you have to give a certain amount of time before the vote happens.
When I think about that, I think about the people in this town. And if we raise their rates and say, okay, it's gonna be 1% for 2022. But we don't bill them for that 1% until December. And then in January, we start billing them for 2%.
No, but we have to get this thing going. You have 45 days. So you're talking May, June, by August.
I think, yeah, August or September is the
By
soonest we're gonna be billing.
August or September, you'll start billing, and then January.
It just has to be really clear when we go out, we have to do public hearings, so when we do the public hearings, we need them to understand that they're not paying, that we're actually not collecting for all of 2022, we're only going to be collecting for a few months in 2022,
Yes.
and then it's gonna go up to the 2023. They actually made out a little bit better and won't have that.
Yeah, they got quite a few
increase.
months in there.
They
Right.
didn't
Okay.
pay anything.
And it's such a small increase. I mean, we were really careful about that because we know people don't have money right now. So, I think that it's not gonna be.
You're talking
really-
$1 or $2.
Yeah, a couple of dollars, and it's
Right.
not increasing the water usage. So I think that it's so reasonable this time that I would be shocked if people really have a problem with this.
Okay, I'm back on phone, so I'm sorry. I'm in even worse Wi-Fi area than you guys are. I'm in the Owens Valley. So anyways, the rest of the report is just examples of stuff to use for going out to notice and supplying the public with, what your budget is and what you spent and things like that, which you already publish already on your website. So.
Right,
You-
and I think we had looked at it, Tiffany has a question for you, but I think we had looked at possibly doing a different resolution slightly, because we're gonna use something more similar to our last resolution.
Yeah, your last resolution is fine because it's kind of overkill compared to what people are picking to do today. So doing extra is doing more is better. So however, as long you've covered everything in yours that you did last time is what they require now. Just people aren't publishing that much anymore. So they're leaving it mostly to be in that information package, is where they're putting most of the meat. But you're doing it in both, so that's fine. So.
David, our board secretary has something to say.
Oh, I have a question. This is actually for the board and David can chime in. If you think it's appropriate to do it now, maybe we can do like a timeline as far as, okay, let's approve the official notice on this date, or this is the date we need the resolution. That way I can make sure to have it on the agenda and have time to prepare the notices. Does that make sense?
Sounds smart.
Yeah, because everything's gonna be driven by when you put the mailings out. So if you know when you're gonna send the mailings out, then you have to wait at least 45 days for the hearing. So again, get it in your pipeline so that, I agree.
And we don't actually approve this booklet until the vote, correct? Like, we don't.
No, the financial study's done. There's nothing to approve.
Right.
It's just the document
Oh,
for you to use when the public wants to say, why are we doing this? Well, here's the financial study. We need to do this so that we stay whole and we can fix all the leaks and start repairing lines. And that's it. It's not, you have to adopt the increases, which is what you've already done with both the fees and the thing. Now you have to adopt when you're going to put out the notice. So you have to adopt a date of when the notices go out and then a date of when the hearing's going to be. So the study's done. It's just backs up what you're doing.
Okay,
Okay, got it.
so what is our,
What's the next thing we do?
We need a date for when we send out the letter.
And we haven't,
Do we have
we
a
had
letter?
the sample of Prop 218. We did it at the last, we did it in March. I gave you just the preliminary, but we hadn't, we didn't have all the specific information to put in the notice yet. If you want to start filling that in and do a final approval, just let me know when to have that on the agenda and when to have that notice complete by.
I think we should go for the planning
For
meeting.
the
I do too.
Yeah.
So, let's see, 428 for final approval of the notice.
The letter, right? The notice.
Yeah, the Prop 218 notice, that's the one that's gonna be mailed, but we'll have to have we have to have the date in the notice, the hearing.
Of the hearing, so, and don't we need to have a certain amount of time between the notice?
45 days.
and the hearing?
David said 45 days after you mail, minimum 45 days.
so,
after you mail
so
it.
we're approving the letter
That won't go out,
on the 28th.
yeah,
So,
that won't go out until
And
May.
then we have to, there's the whole printing, stuffing, mailing,
Oh,
that
so,
takes time.
okay, so then that's gonna be,
so we need to kind of give Johnny this, or maybe you.
Yeah.
The call letter shop.
Yeah, he does that. We can fix them, get estimated dates.
I think our date for the hearing would be July. Because if we give ourselves a month, if we approve the letter at the end of this month,
Yeah.
and then we give ourselves a month to get it out, and then we have
Maybe
45
2
days.
weeks to get it. It wouldn't take a month.
I would say 2 weeks.
Yeah, a month is kind of big.
I'd say by the 12th, we want to look to have it out,
that's the next
the
meeting,
next meeting.
May 12th.
Oh, to
That's
mail it
pretty-
by May
that's
12th? I
pretty
would say
Fast.
mail it by,
May 26th.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking just to be safe, have everything mailed out by the 26th or before the 26th, so you can announce that at our board meeting.
Right.
And then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So that puts us like the end of June. So we could either do the hearing at the very end of June. It could be like the 30th or something, or it'd be July.
And then when the people start going on summer vacations.
well, that we can. So you want the public hearing on a
And don't we have to do 2 public hearings or we only do 1?
One public hearing, before they did like an informational meeting, I don't know.
Yeah, you can, it's, the public hearing is for the protest, you know? And I don't like that word, but that's what they call it. So if so much of your public shows up saying, no, we're not gonna do this, then it doesn't happen. That's the one that needs to be 45 days. If you want me to come and present to your public somewhere and run through the numbers, that's an educational meeting, okay? It's not a hearing. The hearing's the actual legal mechanism that when it's done and there's not enough protest, you've counted the votes, now the increases can start.
So I think we could either do the hearing on the same day as our meeting in June, the 23rd, which is cutting it a little close, or we could do the following week and do a special meeting and just do the hearing, which would be the 3rd.
You're not gonna do July 4th is not a good time to do it.
So
So-
June
so-
30th.
But that
So-
is July 4th weekend, it's
Oh,
right
that's
before
not,
July
that's
4th
not, yeah,
weekend.
that's not gonna work.
Yeah, you don't wanna,
That won't, that's, so you're gonna have to go.
Do we
after
want to
that.
have an informational meeting too?
it wouldn't hurt. I mean, you know, it's up to you guys. A lot of people put the informational meeting out there. And I've gone to some where I used to work and we'd get like 5 people out of 108,000 people.
Only
But-
13 days.
But we did it so,
Here, 5 people out of the 2,000 that live here.
yeah, so
We'll mail out to the 26th, that's only 30 days.
I think we can probably up that a little bit if we need to.
But I'm thinking that it's not gonna work because of the 45-day time frame. So maybe we need to do it on the 7th or on the 14th of July. I mean, it just depends on if we wanna try to squeeze it into a meeting that we already have, so we don't spend extra. Or if we think, I mean, it takes time, remember, we had to do the whole count.
That takes a lot
So
of time.
I think we're probably gonna have to do a special
And you have to
meeting.
have,
the hearing's probably gonna,
had your public had to be there.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
the-
the public count,
Yeah.
we had the
Yeah.
public actually count the votes.
yeah, the
We're
hearings
probably looking
probably should be its own thing, not one of your regular meetings. Would be my advice.
Yeah, there's no way to squeeze it in to one of these
Yeah.
meetings.
You're not gonna
We
squeeze
could
it
do
in.
the 20th of Tuesday instead of a Thursday.
For the public hearing. Was that enough time for mailing?
That's 1,
Was that pretty quick?
2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 weeks if we have the mailing done by the 16th.
Okay. I'm gonna do target date for mailing. Got that date, 16th of May.
16th or 17th, yeah, that week.
Okay. 16th.
And if you're gonna have the educational meeting, I'd put it just a couple weeks ahead of the vote, you know. Because you do it too early and nobody will remember it by the vote time.
No, but you do the mailing, and then you're gonna have the dates on when those ballots have to be returned. And
Yeah.
then that's the public hearing 45 days later.
Is that 45 total days or 45 business days?
You know, I've never seen where they said 45 business days.
Oh, 45 days.
Total days?
So right now you're at Tuesday.
So we
June
could-
28th.
We could do the 28th, which is a little bit before the 4th of July. We don't want to do the 5th because it's too soon on the 4th of July weekend. We could do
You-
the 7th, which is a Thursday in July. Maybe we should do the 7th in the evening. That keeps
Leaving,
time. The only reason I'm thinking maybe Thursdays is that people are already used to us doing Thursdays, so hopefully they would You know, because we did a weekend, remember? We did a weekend to try to accommodate people that worked.
That was for the.
Oh, is that-
And that was for
informational.
the informational.
That was on a Saturday or something?
Yeah,
Did you want me to put?
but I mean,
July
we could do a weekend for the count too, if we want, I mean, for the actual protest too, if we wanted to.
The days are your guys' pick, but I'm available to come for both. Well, I'll be there at the hearing, but I can come and do the informational one too. If you want it on a weekend, that's fine.
Maybe we could do the 25th of June for the informational? Does that sound like something you might be able to do? David?
Yeah,
25th of June,
yeah, I can,
And then we will protest hearing on the 7th of July.
it's a good amount of time in between, not much, right?
And what times? That way I can get all this.
You're gonna have to do 6. I mean, you're gonna have to do evenings, right? 6, 7
No,
o'clock.
the informational, if it's on a weekend, we don't necessarily have to do evening.
You could do it like 10 o'clock.
10 in the morning, yeah.
Is that what you want? 10?
Yeah. You're gonna have to check with the county if they have opening.
Yeah, that's the other thing is we don't know if that building's available from the county, so.
Probably is.
Yeah, like what goes on in that building.
Yeah, but on a
Some
Saturday, I mean, but you
Saturdays.
should get it, you should call them for scheduling.
Yeah, in the evening, we're fine in that building, I think there's AARP and stuff in there, they do exercise and, but they're in the daytime.
That's not on
During the week,
Saturday.
Not on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. Saturdays is open. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
It's
nothing
open
ever
unless,
going.
unless somebody, you know, has
Has a,
reserved it
has
already.
something.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, nobody.
And people do in the summer. People that.
Well, yes, but you just have to call and find out.
What is your schedule like, David, for the 7th in the evening for the protest hearing? Our normal time at
Well, why
6.
would you do it in the evening?
The protest hearing?
Why would you do it on a if you're doing it on a Saturday, why would you do it in the evening?
No, that's not on a Saturday. The
Oh.
protest hearing would be a normal Thursday.
Oh, okay. That would be like 6 o'clock.
Yes, that's what I'm asking you, if he's available.
Will that work for you, David?
Yeah, that'll work.
I
Just,
said it.
yeah, I just need to know, I'm flexible, so if you give me dates, you know, and you book them, I can book them into my calendar.
The tentative dates are June 25th at 10 a.m. And we don't know how long it'll go because it's informational and people ask questions. And then July 7th at 6 p.m.
For the protest.
for the protest hearing.
Yeah, just call it the hearing. I use the word protest.
Well, for the hearing, for public hearing to count the votes.
Yeah, the count for adoption, and if you, it's kind of the adoption goes this way. If you don't get enough nays, it's adopted. More than 50%
Right, and
have to say no.
Right, and then Tiffany has to check those dates with the county because we usually do this. Actually, the protest hearing last time we did it here. We just did the informational meeting over there.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's, I mean, the hearing.
Yes, I was here.
We opened them
Before, that's the.
Right, and we had the possibility of people being in the parking lot, but then we didn't get that many people. So.
You usually don't,
Yeah, so-
because, and I don't imagine with, I put dollar signs up so that when people see the increases, they see, you know, that it's $4, $5, you know, it's not, you probably won't
Yeah,
get
we'll
that
be putting
much.
Also, so I would say we probably only need to book, I would say we could do the meeting here, but we just need to book for the informational meeting at Saturday 10.
So
Okay,
Saturday,
what,
Are you sure?
Saturday 10, what was the date again on June?
I think we should just still do it over there, just in case a lot of people show up.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not be, but if we risk and then there's a throng of people, then what do we do?
Yeah, and then also, I don't know if you look through any of this, but it's also saying that we need to kind of do something.
Yeah, but they're saying a library, because I don't think the rec building is any more attractive than, but we can talk about that.
But that's something to
But I'm
address
just
at
saying
a
that,
later time.
but they're saying, if we're gonna have, think we're gonna have a large group, we need to do it somewhere other than here, so I think we need to do the,
Okay, so,
I'll work on the park building
yeah,
Okay.
for both those dates, yeah.
and I'll have it.
It will be sitting there and it'll be empty.
the problem is that it's difficult for us to do Zoom at the park meeting, and we need to have that available also, because the public is now kind of used to Zoom, so.
Well, we can address that at the Zoom.
Or-
Okay.
Okay,
So what was the date for the educational? June what?
25th.
Okay, and let me know if it changes because of the county.
right, we will.
I'm open, you just have to let me know, because it's far enough out where I can make
July
the arrangement.
Is the public hearing.
Okay, I got that. Thank you.
All right, David, thank you.
Which means if we write this correctly, we can implement this by August.
Yeah, you could be, the 1% could start on the August billing cycle. And you get August, September, October, November, December, you get 5 months of 1%. So you don't lose as much. That's all you're doing. You're just not losing as much.
Okay, so,
You guys done with me?
We're done. You're very
We're
much-
done with Deborah too.
When do we need the resolution? Is that,
That's gonna be soon.
when do we have to do the resolution by?
Are you still here, Deborah?
I'm still here.
Okay, David, when do we have to do the resolution by?
The resolution is part of, I would have it, the resolution is what you're actually passing at the hearing. Okay, so everything you've put together in the resolution is what they're going to yay or nay at the hearing. And what people say is, this resolution passes whatever days after, or is implemented after the public hearing, okay? So you figure out what you're going to put in it, and it's, so go ahead.
Well, so you're talking, we're gonna have the informational on the 25th. So what, we would do it by the.
Now you do the resolution right. The resolution,
We
you put it,
sent out the resolution as part of the letter last time, so we have
Yeah.
the letter, which is,
the resolution is what you decide first. Here's what we want to pass. And that goes out with the letter along with all the information. And when you give it those dates, that date of June or July 7th, that's their chance to turn down your resolution. That makes sense?
yes.
So we don't have to have
So
that.
we need the resolution, all the wording, and we need the letter to go out together to the public. The letter is a cover saying what's happening. The resolution is the actual resolution that they're going to look at and be voting on. And then we have
Our next
45
meeting.
days. Yeah, so
Because we're gonna. the letter.
because we're not adopting the resolution, but we need the resolution done.
Yeah, well, and when, and a lot of places, once it's passed, it goes to the date, there's not enough protest, then you just in your next meeting say, okay, there's no protest, we adopt the resolution. But you need to have it all out there because they need to have that chance.
We need all the wording and stuff for the 20th.
That's why
And I'm off all next week.
And
That's
you're
why
off
I'm
all
yikesing.
next week.
That's why I'm yikesing, but if you want, I can do it.
I mean, I'll help you with it. You just need to send it to me and I'll look at it too.
It's pretty,
Let's do it.
Sorry, Johnny, I'm not doing anything else, I got this.
I mean, in reality, even if we had to pass it on the 12th, but then, no, because we're supposed to have it all mailed out by the 16th, so that wouldn't work. Yeah, we need it for this next.
Yeah, the good thing
Yeah.
is most of it, all the bumps I've already done, it's only inserting the specific information. So hopefully I'll.
And you can run that back and forth with me, I know if to do that and comment, if that's okay with everybody. Okay.
Okay, thank you, David.
Okay,
And good night, Deborah.
Yeah, I think Deborah, we're done with,
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Have a
David.
good evening.
thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Tiffany, just keep me
Number
updated on
10.
the dates.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
unfinished
if you need
business.
me to look over the resolution, just pass it by me. That's fine.
Okay.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Hi,
Okay,
everyone.
Discussion vote
Good
Good
night.
night, thank you.
on Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Consolidation Plan Project. A discussion vote on S12 property appraisals. Hey, Dee.
Okay, so this still isn't moving forward. We should not be discussing because we're just doing 11 right now. So I would like to move that we, right, Dee? I mean, we're not really moving forward until we have an okay from SEA on which we don't have yet. So I'm gonna move that we table A, B, C, D, A, B, C, and D of number 10.
I think, I think that would be good, just being that we're on A, I just wanted to make a little bit of a revision there. I should have noticed it before. But it was, these would be the permanent well or the production well property appraisals.
Correct, it's not test well anymore.
Right. But-
And
But other than that, we should table it.
thank you for catching that, Dee.
Just noticed.
E, discussion vote.
Wait, we haven't gotten a second or voted on it.
I second it.
Okay, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly. Aye. Director Schonberg,
I,
Director Gibson, aye. 4-0, 1 absent. E, discussion vote on claims and payouts. Is that Oscar?
that's Carl.
No, we don't have any claims and payouts yet because we usually do the claims at the state planning, at the state meeting. That's when I present the draft claim. So I'll be presenting a claim 17 at the state update meeting.
But we received 12, 13, and 14.
14, yeah, so
So
we,
we're still waiting on 15 and 16.
And 15 and 16 were approved. So now you guys just need to get the checks.
Okay.
awesome, okay.
Okay, number 11, discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project.
Update on, well 7.
So that's you again, Dee, right?
Yes. We've just approved the contract with United. And so we're working through the insurance forms, the bond forms, and a number of things that we have to put in place and review before we issue a notice to proceed. So my guess is probably 2 to 3 weeks we'll be in a position to recommend to the board that we issue a notice to proceed on the project. It has to do with a lot of the scheduling, bonds, insurance, and a number of those things that we have to make sure are in place.
We've already awarded the bid, right, Dee?
Yes,
I'm sorry?
We've already awarded the bid, correct?
We've awarded. And once you award, then the contractor has to provide these documents so that, you know, we know that he has the proper insurance. He provides a bid bond, but now he has to provide faithful performance bonds and one other construction bond, let's say faithful performance. There's one other, and I'm for some reason slipping. Anyway, before he has to provide two bonds, we have to check and make sure they're in the right form and for the right amount. There's a number of just paperwork things that we have to do, administrative things, before we recommend that he proceed with the contract. So we'll be bringing that to the board as soon as we get that information from the contractor.
Okay.
The discussion vote on the letter and the status of requesting a temporary plan on Real Well number 7.
Sent a letter out, I think, to everybody, several days ago. And
We have it, Dee. I saw some typos on it.
okay. Let me get that letter up. All right. Please
So,
point them out.
Page 1, the second paragraph. Towards the bottom of the paragraph, it says, the only way to get a drilling rig into the site is to cross your property and use a small area to construct a replacement well. See the attached drawing, period, and then it says wood access, and access is capitalized, so I don't know, that's wrong, will be needed for a period of 60 to 90 days for drilling the well. So I think that wood shouldn't be there.
It should be access will.
I think
So I
I have the words backwards. Access would be needed for a period of 60 to 90 days. Thank you.
And you have to get rid of will.
then get rid of will if you're gonna do that.
Yes.
And I think, see, the attached drawing should be in brackets or parentheses or something.
Say it again, please, Lisa.
The see the attached drawing is usually in like brackets or parentheses, or
I can do that.
it's not part of the letter. And then on the next paragraph, where it says, the district hereby offers you $190 based on the appraisal performed by Valbridge Property Advisors in Bakersfield. And that says also is a copy of the temporary easement deed. I think it was supposed to be attached is a copy of the temporary easement deed for your signature.
I think so. I'll make those changes right now. And we do have to prepare that easement deed. I've asked Alan to provide me a copy of what an easement deed looks like. I think I can guess, but I'd like to make sure we get it right. So attached is a copy.
And I think you want to fix where it says RE New Fraser Park Wells up at the top to Nathan in the heading. I think you should change that to New Fraser Park Well number 7.
Let me see. Yeah, let's see, I can share my screen if Tiffany, if you'd allow me to, and I'll make those corrections right now.
Yeah, it should be already open from the last person.
Okay. See attached drawings, access would be needed for a period of 60 to 90 days for drilling the well. And what was the next thing, Lisa?
Next one was attached is a copy instead of also is a copy. It's on the next paragraph. And And then the last thing I saw was just up at the top heading where it says RE New Fraser Park Wells. I would change that to well, or I would change it to well number 7.
Should say new Fraser Park well number 7. And at the bottom, D, this is just, it's not really a big deal, but where you have just to be clear, it looks like there's no space there. I could be wrong, but it looks.
Where did I put that, Brahma?
Down at the bottom,
I see a space with a dash.
where it says just to be clear.
It looks correct to me.
There's a
No,
dash.
no, I'm talking about what you say, replacement well period. And it doesn't look like there's a space between period and just.
There is though on this
Oh,
letter.
okay. Oh, I guess it is. Sorry. It just looked
Yeah.
close to me. I stand corrected.
And then I don't know, D, if this would be better on our letter. I guess it's fine on your letterhead because it's really you can, yeah.
You know, what I did here, I put Rebecca's name and then I put it on our letterhead, but I was thinking that it should be best be on the district letterhead. But it's just your call, however you like it. Otherwise,
It's kind of you talking to them as the engineer.
and we've dealt with them before, so it may be more proper for me to,
I almost think it should be you and on your letterhead.
okay.
I don't know if the rest of the board thinks so.
Yeah, I agree. So if we need a notarized signature from them, that might be some more time involved too,
Well,
right?
we're giving them until April 28th, so I don't know what happens at that point. We have to talk to our attorney.
I think my thoughts on this are, I think we may get some pushback on the amount. And so I know there's a little bit of flexibility in making an offer when it's based on the threat of condemnation, but there's not much. I don't think very much flexibility. But if he replies and says, I don't think that's proper or not enough, we can tell him to get his own appraisal. Or we can maybe make a little bit bigger offer, but it wouldn't be a lot bigger. There's a limit, to,
Say something like it was appraised at 190, but we're willing to offer 250 or something?
I think we should get Alan's input on that before we,
That would be my only thing, is if we're allowed to do that and we can go slightly, I mean, I don't think we need to do a lot, and we're talking like, I think we have to figure out how much that is a day for that easement, if it's like 90 days. So is it like $10 a day, is it?
not very much,
Yeah, it's.
$2 a day. It's just based on 90.
I mean, we're basically, there's not gonna be a lot of, they're gonna bring in equipment and then bring things in, but it's not gonna be every day.
It's not gonna be so invasive.
Yeah, because once they're on the property, they should have most things there.
Yeah, it'll be on our property at that point. It's just a matter of driving across.
What normally will happen will be they will bring in the equipment and they'll start drilling the well. And then once they get down to the bottom of the well, they'll run some testing so that, it'll verify the production strata. And then Ken Schmidt will wade in on that and recommend the perforated interval based on actual conditions. And then they'll order casing, and then the casing will also come in via that route across SEA. It'll be several truckloads of casing, and this is going to be, I think, 12-inch or 14-inch casing in 40-foot lengths, and so they will bring that in. And then the only other thing would be that the crew would also come in on a daily basis and park
Right.
in that area.
I mean, I would think that as a board, we might be interested in doing something like, it was appraised at $190. We have to ask, obviously, Alan, and we're willing to offer, either 75 or like $100 a month. Because that would end up being a maximum of 300 if we did that, as opposed to 190 or whatever it is.
It's pretty minimal.
Yeah, but I mean, at least like they're looking at it on monthly, that way it's not just this, they see that it's
300 a month, you want to go?
no 100 a month.
Oh,
With max would be $300.
What we can do, let me get Alan's take on it, and then I'll send out an email to everybody, and then we can decide really what.
You can't, well,
We should approve
we
it.
can't decide, you'd have to go to ad hoc, and the ad hoc will have to approve it.
Why don't we approve an amount up to a certain amount now at the board meeting, and then leave it to council's discretion as to what we should actually offer, either that amount or below.
And we would want to get Alan's response like right away tomorrow.
I've already emailed him.
Okay.
So how much did we spend on that appraisal?
A lot.
what?
You can,
More than it's worth.
We spent that money for the appraisal. It came back and said it's worth 190. But we're going to increase it, and then we're going to negotiate them with them again for a permanent easement, right?
there's
But if we piss them off completely, like on this, it becomes even more interesting for the permanent. I mean, this is just like it's just for people to drive over the property, but it's sort of like a nuisance fee, like.
Yeah, I mean, I
for
understand
people on the
what
property.
it
Okay,
is.
I make a motion.
I think his only thing is he's gonna have to leave that gate unlocked. The thing that he
Or
told
give
me
him a key.
Or give him a key. Otherwise, I don't think we're gonna disturb them at all.
I'll make a motion.
Boys.
I'll make a motion to approve this letter with the changes made, and that we add in that we will offer them $300 instead of the $190,
Up to
up to $300, and that based on the attorney's approval and then the ad hoc committee.
that'll work. We can work within that quite easily.
I got a motion from the floor, Dee.
I'll second that motion. But I'll second that motion. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Do you have more discussion you want to do? Oh,
I forgot what I was gonna say.
okay, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Gibson, I 401.
Oh, that's what it was. What ad hoc?
the ad hoc is
The
the
state?
Garcia.
The state ad hoc then?
Yes.
The
Okay.
state ad hoc.
Planning.
Okay, I'll accept your friendly
Okay.
amendment of saying state ad hoc.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Discussion vote.
So Dee, once you hear about that, you're gonna send it to Director Garcia and to me. And we will, we have a okay to figure that out with you.
Okay, so noted. I've got the notes and I'll be back in touch with you next
And
couple
if for
days.
any reason we don't get back to you, will you text as well? Because sometimes my email doesn't give me notifications and I can't hear them. And so I don't want to take too long getting back to you. So if I haven't answered or we haven't answered in a timely manner, will you log us?
Do you hear that, Dee?
I didn't hear quite that last. I think if I.
I know Director Garcia does not always see his emails or answer them, and I know that even if I look, sometimes, just be sure you don't do it as part of a thread, because I definitely don't see the threads. Like, just make a new email for that if you can. And hopefully I'll see it. I'll just make sure I'm checking. But if for any reason we're taking any amount of time to get back to you, then please call us. Director Garcia or me.
If I don't hear from you, I'll either call you or have Johnny call
Yeah, that's fine.
and make sure that, I get a response
Well,
before.
Johnny won't be there.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I'm leaving Johnny out of it because he's got some, his wife has some medical issues he's dealing with right now.
I see. Okay. I think I have your telephone numbers. If not, Tiffany can send those to me and I'll make sure that I make the
Now,
contact.
I've texted back and forth with you, so you definitely have mine.
Okay.
Why is the final budget attached to the letter?
It's not attached, but it's
Oh,
in that same.
yeah, but you're not gonna send that to him.
Oh, no, that's not gonna.
Okay, just-
Well, check. See, the budget was attached to the letter, that only the
That's
letter is
something we
going
did.
out.
No, I don't think it is.
The appraisal will be sent to him
The same
Okay,
and
area, but it's not attached. Mine wasn't attached.
okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay, never mind I just had the final approval, budget approval from the state. And it was attached to my letter, so I was worried that we were sending that
Okay.
also to them, and we
Okay.
shouldn't be.
That's not even on here.
Okay, discussion vote on the plans and specifications for the meter replacement.
I think what we did was it the ad hoc meeting or was it the last board meeting? We decided that, there was not a really big rush right now for the plans and specs for the meter replacement. So we've kind of put that on the back burner for right now.
We're worried about it because in looking at the approval letter, they've actually taken money away from the meter replacement budget. And so I think before we finish, I mean, you need to be working on the plans and specs, but we need to probably start bothering the state ahead of time before we send anything out, like go out to bid, to try to amend that that second amount, because basically the amount that we're going forward on for the well seems to be fine, but they actually took money from the second part of it.
Yeah, the meter replacement, they took money from the meter replacement and put it into the well.
Yeah.
Right, so I think when we do the plans and specs, we're gonna need to discuss with Lawrence the possibility of getting started on amending that amount based on your calculations of what the plans and specs are gonna require, because I think if we're not amending that ahead of time and we go out to bid, we're gonna be in trouble because it won't get amended quickly enough.
Well, I think we're in really good shape with respect to the amount of money that's in the budget. But once we get the plans done, we'll do our own estimate and give you a good idea. I think we're really in good shape. But the meters themselves will be about 500,000. So we have 2.9 million, 2.8, 2.7. I can't remember what's left.
That's their.
2.1.
They.
2.1. And we only have
Or two
a
point,
quarter of that in the meter purchases themselves. And so I don't think we're gonna touch that budget top, but we will do an estimate. And Pam, I think Pam has a pretty good idea of what they paid per meter to put these in. And if you are listening, Pam, maybe you can enlighten us as to what it cost you, but it looks like the budget's pretty good from this standpoint.
Ours would be hard to compare because we also did line replacement.
We have line replacement as part of that though. I mean, not service line replacement, not.
No, and ours was actual main line and service line.
You didn't do the meters, Pam?
Yeah, we did the meters, but we also had lines and service line. And I think ours was, gosh, I think it was 3.4 million total for us. We only had 400.
Do you
But
have-
also,
Do you have the line items for, usually they'll bid on a bid schedule. And so part of that's meters and part of it's line installation.
yeah, I'd have to look back through the records.
Look, if you got them, I'd appreciate it, but it seems to me like we're in pretty good shape.
Well, and I think what they will do too is look at your final budget approval. Is that where, that's where they'll do the adjustment. Once you go out to bid and they come in, the bids come in, if it ends up being over budget, then they'll do a final budget adjustment, don't they? Did you have to submit that?
No, because we have only a set amount, so if it does come in over the 2.1 for any reason, we would actually have to ask for an amendment, and then we have to go through a whole process for that. So it's not like, they were able to do that with the well, because we already had enough money overall in the budget. But if for any reason it goes up between now and, when we go out to bid, and it's over that amount, then no, they wouldn't be able to just adjust it. It would be a process of amending, of asking for.
Well, we'll put together a pretty good estimate here pretty shortly. We're close to being done with the plans and specs. And then Pam, if you have line item type bids, that would be helpful. I know pipeline replacement is not cheap up there. And so that is probably a significant cost as well. So yeah, if you have that information, that would be good. If not, we can take a good hard look at that and see just how it matches the budget. And then, if the board's comfortable with that, then we'll go ahead. And if they're not, then we'll fall back and pursue Lawrence.
Very good. Okay. Discussion vote on going out to bid for meter replacement. We're not there, are we?
Well, I don't know about, but we're like,
We're not there yet.
Dee said, we want to slow that down just because we don't want to get caught in that thing of having 60 days to award the bid and not having enough money to award it. So once we know more from Dee about the plans and specs, then we can think about that.
Okay, so we can move on to E.
Yeah.
Discussion vote update on the budget adjustment.
Well, that's what we were just talking, we're not there yet either.
Yeah, we need to. Now that we got the final budget approval, maybe Oscar can weigh in on if we can start doing like.
Oh, yeah. Oscar, are you there?
Oscar?
Carlos?
Yes, sorry, my reception is horrible. I didn't quite catch that. I just heard budget adjustment, and as far as I know, the budget adjustment, according to Lawrence, wasn't approved until they make an amendment
Right.
Right. But we
to
can-
the award.
but
They sent us a letter. They sent us a letter on the 11th, and it appears to me that they have approved moving the money around.
Yeah.
Unless they didn't approve the line, I didn't read the line items. Did they change the name of the line items?
No.
Can you forward me that letter? I don't think I received it.
That,
or I
that
might
letter
have
could,
lost it.
that
Yeah.
letter, are you sure it's not for the budget adjustment that we did?
Yeah, that's for the planning project, the one that I saw.
Yeah, I believe that was for the planning project, the budget adjustment that got approved. And, the one for the,
Am I crazy?
No, so right now, when we got this from the state, it said there's $94,000 in the planning and design now.
Yeah, they fixed it. The state approved the, is that letter in here?
Yeah, right, it was, mine was,
It's in the budget.
mine was attached, number 11.
Oh, I don't have that letter.
You don't have this letter?
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, State Water Resources Control Board. So it
Oh,
says April 11th to Becky.
Yeah.
Director Gibson, it says final budget approval for phase 1, Fraser Park Public Utility District recipient, Fraser Park Public Utility District meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. And they moved around, the budget is moved around, so it,
Planning and design has $94,000.
yeah, planning and design is now final approved budget. So what they did is they took money out of phase 2, which is the meters, 346,705, and moved that to phase 1 to cover the additional amount of planning design. So the planning design increased by 73,000, or increased, yeah, by 73,000. The construction management decreased by 126,000. Administration increased by 52,000. And so that's the total of the 337 or 300.
So is this just for the well?
That's completely different from what we asked for in the budget adjustment.
I know, but this is the actual letter from the State Water Resources Control Board. So this is what they did is they took money from phase 2 and put it into phase 1, which actually is what Lawrence talked to us about at the state update meeting. And so they kept contingency the same. The changes were that the phase 2 decreased by $346,000, and that's why we're saying 2,194,000 instead of 2,541,000 for phase 2. But phase 1 now has enough money to do the planning and design, so I believe we can do claims. It says that it's. So you don't have this letter at all?
But this is claim.
No.
For the,
Can Tiffany, could you forward me that letter?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now and I'll let you know.
But it is claims for the well that we need. We had run out of money. We couldn't pay any more on the well because we didn't have enough for planning and design.
is that right?
Yeah, we had ran out of that's why we were holding on to those invoices from D, because initially that's why we asked for that budget adjustment.
Right.
Because we ran out of money in the planning and design.
So they're saying, but here's my only issue. They're saying that under, it says per sections B4, B5, B6 of agreement number D20-02051, Division of Financial Assistance, has reviewed your final budget approval form and agrees to reimburse eligible project costs in accordance with the agreement up to $1,802,892. So that's the most that they will reimburse right now, $1,802,892 for phase 1.
For phase 1.
So, which is over what their actual little budget here says. So I'm a little confused about that amount, but I guess they leave some off for detention or something. I don't even know. I don't know why it's 1.8.
Well, I think that contingency is the total contingency for the entire
project.
So, I mean, that's really gonna be more for meter replacement when it comes down to it.
Right.
It'll be transferred over.
Right, but basically, they increased what, they gave us what Unified Field Services was asking for in the bid,
Right.
which was an increase of 346,705. And then they removed that from phase two.
Right.
And then they added some additional money for planning design and for, they took away construction management, so I don't know what that'll end up doing. And then they added administration. So it's a little,
You have this letter, correct, Dee?
When, let me see,
it was, they sent it to us on email April 11th.
when you look at the, there's an allowance of $152,744 for construction management
Right.
in the budget, in the reimbursement request, the final budget, final disbursement budget. Contingency of $388,256 shared between the two,
Yeah.
phase one and phase two.
But we have to be careful not to use the contingency.
Yeah, we can get in-
Because we're gonna need that on the meter replacement.
Well, like I say, I think from the standpoint of, we can talk to Lawrence. I think maybe a conference call, straighten it all out. And then we can go from
We
there.
have 14 days, which I don't think we should complain because basically we're okay right now because they're only talking about phase one.
Right.
Because if
We're in
you
good shape.
set to the final budget or eligibility determinations contained in this FBA for phase one, you must notify DFA of your disagreement within 14 days. Please note, submitting a disbursement request pursuant to this FBA will be treated as Fraser Park Public Utility District providing its explicit consent to the terms of this FBA. So my understanding is if we put in a claim, that just says we're consenting to this agreement. And then if we go over, like, once you have the plans and specs for phase two, we're probably gonna have to ahead of time, make sure that we're already putting in for an amendment if we feel we need one, because the money got shifted around.
I agree. I think we're good, but we'll know a little bit more when we get a final,
But
take a
basically,
look at our final plans.
yeah, but basically, my understanding, Oscar, is that if you read this, it looks like we can put in claims. If we do, then we've given our consent to this final approved budget for phase one.
Tiffany sent you the letter, did you
Yeah,
get it?
I just got it right now.
Okay.
How did you get left out of it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I got this a few days ago. I'd already read it before she put it in here.
I didn't see that.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of,
Sorry, I didn't tell you. I didn't have any questions on that one.
Okay.
I called him after we got the book and I'm looking through it and I'm like, come on, what's this? What is this? What's it?
Tiffany, I assume that you're not sharing my screen anymore.
We are not,
Okay.
but you've got some beautiful pictures up
I
there.
don't know, I've lost it. I don't know where she went.
It is a pretty picture, that one.
Yes.
That's where we start a cattle drive every year from near Yosemite down to the valley floor. It takes about 5 days.
Wow.
Hey, I'd love to come with you, Dee.
Yeah. Wait, you can ride a horse too?
We,
But I need an RV. I need one of those little, what are they?
Polaris things or whatever.
Polaris things to ride in.
So,
I don't know I could
Oscar?
ride in a horse.
it went to you, Oscar, but because it was a thread, which I hate, it was at the very bottom of the thread. So you probably just didn't even see it because you had to go all the way down on that particular email to the very bottom, and that's where all the stuff was. So.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Habit of not doing threads like that, because when you get on a big long thread, most of us don't see what we need to see.
Yeah, it gets confusing.
Yeah, I'll keep that in. I still think we should have a conference call with Lawrence, or we can discuss this in the ad hoc call. Because there's some things I'm just confused about on it.
I think we can do it during the state, because that's
The 21st.
next week. And I think,
What's the date of this letter, though?
the
Your 14
letter's the
days.
11th.
And you said 14 days.
Well, that,
14 days, yes.
that's,
Yep, but it's 14 days for phase one, so I mean, I read it pretty thoroughly. I didn't see anything weird with it, but
Yeah, I think.
but I think you don't have a claim prepared anyway, right? You're gonna prepare one for the planning meeting?
Yeah, I don't have a, see, I would have already been working on a claim, but I mean, I think I could pull something together, prepare a claim 3, because I didn't even know this existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you, I mean, it wouldn't be horrible, I guess, to be, well, it would be for D, but D's getting a bunch of checks this month.
yeah,
So,
you're getting some big money, Dee.
But, yeah, I think if everybody's okay with that, we can wait to talk to Lawrence on the 21st, but if you sort of have an idea or have a little bit of stuff pulled together, so we can ask them whatever questions we need to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. A good starting point.
But yeah, it looked like we're as far as the well goes. It just looks like, we're gonna have to do some scrambling for the meter project,
Okay.
possibly.
Okay, discussion vote on claims and payouts?
That's what we were
That's what we were
just
talking
talking
None
about.
again, right?
There's-
Okay.
yeah.
Number 12, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on the technical assistance work plan.
Okay, we've already received that. Is that not correct?
Okay, so
Our-
we got some good news on this, and we got some bad news. The good news is that, we got the work plan, it's approved. I was working on the amendment to send to D, and in talking to D, I figured out that there was a part of his proposal that was missing on the work plan. So, we're gonna have to, we have a meeting with DFA on Tuesday, and we'll try to sort this out to try to get this turned around as soon as possible, because we got approved basically for all the design work, but we didn't get approval for any of the other work, because when I asked D for an estimate, he sent it to me, and then I told him that DFA wanted, Ariela, I'm on the phone right now. DFA wanted 90% design done. They wanted this project as construction ready as possible. So then D sent me another estimate. So I thought that was a update to the first estimate he sent me, but in reality, those were two separate estimates. So I only input the second estimate he sent me for the 490,000, but I guess there's another estimate for all the backhoe work and potholing and everything that's like 377,000. So now I'm gonna have to talk to DFA and see if we can reverse the order of those things, since they already approved 400 some thousand. I'm gonna see if we can start work on the potholing and everything else, and then
That has to be done
submit it later. What was that?
That has to be done first.
Yeah, but like I said, when D sent me the estimate, I thought it was just one estimate. So I submitted it, but it was actually two estimates. So,
Well, I thought the original one was 289,000.
Yeah.
We updated it as of October 12th, I think, from and that came up to 377.
What was
The,
that?
Oscar, is that, I mean, Carlos, is that something that we can be a part of, the ad hoc, the project ad hoc?
Like be part of what?
Or can we talk to ahead of time? Well, because I have no idea now what's going on exactly. So can we look at?
Well, basically we have approval to do all the design work, but the problem is
Any
the
design work. Pothole.
the problem is that the potholing was not included in that estimate. So now we have to talk to DFA on Tuesday because we have a bi-weekly meeting with DFA to talk about the work plans. So we're gonna talk to them about adding the potholing and see if we can take out as much of the delay as possible. So since they already approved 490,000 of work, my manager said that we could probably get away with them allowing D to do all the potholing work since it's less money than that. So that's why we're gonna talk to them on Tuesday, and then I will fill you guys in as to what's gonna happen at the Thursday state meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who was that?
we really need to get started on this because don't we have to have by July a request into them?
Yeah, we're gonna have that. I can have that to you guys by the end of this month. It's not that packet is not a big deal.
So who do you speak with at DFA? Carlos?
James Garrett.
Okay, so not anybody we've been dealing with. Okay, so yeah, if you can write that up in a way that makes sense for the state planning meeting.
Yeah, I'll include that in the agenda so we can talk about it. And one question for D. I noticed that some of the stuff repeats on the two estimates. Are they two separate things? Like you have traffic control and labor compliance, those are two separate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for the potholing, Carlos, we're gonna have backhoes out in the middle of the street and things like that. Some of the residential trails, it's not such a big deal, but when we pothole in some of the more the paved roads, we're gonna have to have traffic control. So
And does the cost include repaving where you pothole? Did you
Yep.
have those costs in there?
yep, we included that.
All right.
Yeah, and then I'll let you know, D, whether they're gonna want everything in as one estimate and not two separate ones.
Okay.
So I'll let you know what comes, and I'll keep you guys posted as what comes out of the Tuesday's meeting. So I'm hoping for the best that we can get this moving without too much delay.
Can you send, I don't remember the two separate estimates. Can you send that to the project ad hoc?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll include those two estimates in the project ad hoc package.
Okay, yeah, before the 21st though, so I have time to read it.
Yeah, I will send them before.
Okay, because I usually get that stuff like the day of, or it's really hard.
Well, the thing is, because when I'm working on the claim, I can't send everything until I finish the claim, and sometimes I'm waiting on stuff for
Yeah,
the claim.
I get it with the claim, but yeah, just on this, if you could send that stuff.
Okay, I'll just send you guys the two estimates like by themselves for now,
Okay, yeah, but
and I'll send them to you guys tomorrow.
just to Garcia and to myself, because otherwise.
Okay.
Okay.
If you can share, Tiffany, if you can share my screen again, I can show you the October 25th, and that's what Carlos is going to send you with respect to pipeline locates.
It's on.
It's
We
on.
good?
We good, Pete.
There we go.
And I guess, does Johnny already have that?
What's that?
This?
I don't have it.
Can you copy Carlos, Tiffany, and Johnny also? So Garcia, Schoenberg.
Sure. And it's an update. It's revised, so it may not, I may have not shared that with everybody, but it was updated last year on October 25th. Carlos wanted to make sure that I had, up-to-date numbers because of inflation, so.
Okay.
I can't see it at all.
No, I can't see it either.
Well,
But you can see
He
it.
can see it because he's probably, because he's right, kind of right there.
well, on the flag, it's probably blocking your.
Well, that's what I can't,
My concern is the writing's just.
yeah, I can't see it either. I would have to go.
I don't recall seeing that, but it might be buried in a thread somewhere.
You may have seen the earlier version of that, which was
I saw the separate version.
289. I think the one before was 289 or something
I
like
saw
that.
the 289 version. Okay, so we can't really see that. It's like way too far away, so it's not all that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
okay.
I'll send it to you.
To them.
Okay,
So I'd like to move that we table B, C, D, and E of 12 because we need to figure out this technical
I'll
assistance
second
work
that
plan.
motion.
So wait, I'm gonna table it until the next planning meeting.
I'll second that motion.
okay, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 4-0, 1 absent. Okay, moving on to
And
number,
we never noted the time we started, but you can note the time we're
I'll pull it
ending.
on.
Can we go back to 11F real quick, please?
Yes?
yes,
I just have a quick question. The meeting minutes for the month of March will be approved in tonight's meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because I need those to be able to submit the quarterly report for this first quarter. And until that quarterly report is done, then no new claim can be approved.
Yeah, we're motioning on all 3 sets of minutes tonight.
Okay, all right. That was my question. Thank you.
okay, number 13,
This is her last
discussion,
day for a week.
discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation to Special Districts Grant A, discussion vote update on purchasing of the generators.
Okay, and this is where
Yeah.
Oscar and I are
You and I
heading out.
go.
Hasta la vista.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you,
We'll see you
Carlos.
next
Bye.
week.
Good night.
Dee,
Good night.
I talked a little bit to Johnny about this, but can you just update us on the issues that are happening? Because I know Johnny had talked about the possibility of tier 3 instead of tier 4 because we can't seem to get specs on the.
Well, yeah. We're really getting a bit, well, it's an interesting situation. I'll just put it that way. We're not moving ahead like we would like to be. And so what we with our original contractor. And Curtis has been in contact and been sending information back and forth. And, this is, and Johnny, I'm sure, has updated you a bit as to what's going on.
That's me, so you need to update the whole board.
Say again, please.
He only was able to update 2 directors. I don't know who the second person was, but you need to update the board.
Well, PTS really is, what we're concerned about is that our electrical engineer indicates that these generators that have been submitted by PTS will probably have an operating issue. Wet stacking, they call it, and we talked about that last time. And so we have written them and told them, you got a problem with, I think, 5 out of 6 of these things. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to provide load cells? Are you going to provide soft starts? What are you going to do? It's your problem, PTS, not ours, not the district's. And so that's where it is right now. That letter got sent last week. But in addition, Curtis has talked to Quinn, the other bidder on this, and there's a bit of a gamble with respect to tier 3. They say they can get them approved. And we know of a project in your part of the world that wasn't approved with tier 3. So we're not sure about that, but they have also indicated that they could provide portable generators with the load banks, and they are tiered 4. So, but they haven't given us a price yet. So what we're doing is exploring alternatives.
We've already paid
A lot of money.
$160,000 to,
160.
yeah.
And so,
Well, that's a problem. I mean, if they're not going to provide the right stuff, how are we going to get the money back, and how quickly are they going to pay us back?
well, they haven't ordered anything. We've been going back and forth on the generators and qualifying the generators. They haven't ordered anything. They've spent a little bit of time in paperwork, but that's it. So, how we would take care of that, that's something that we need to talk to Alan Dowd about. If indeed they've decided that they're not going to cooperate, then we have ourselves a legal question, and we're going to get into some interesting situations with these guys.
Dee, how long do we have again on the final report? Is it December of this?
I think it's December now. Tiffany, do you have that date?
It's December 31st of 22 is the deadline to spend the money.
Yeah. So it's not too far away, really.
Are we going to have to sue them to get our money back?
Pardon?
Are we going to have to sue them to get our money back?
I would hope not. I would hope we could work out something cooperatively with them, and call it an experience, a bad one, but we walk away whole. And that would be if their response is pretty quickly here that really there's nothing that they can do, then we're going to make a demand on the money that we already sent them.
How frustrating.
Yeah, we're frustrated. Everybody's frustrated in this. And
So we should know something by the next meeting?
yes, and I'll have some, with your permission, I'll have some preliminary discussions once we get past this week and into next week and we get no response, or we get a response from PTS, and we can get one because we'll call them and we'll tell them, okay, we're at the end of our grace period. We've got to do something here. And so we get a response, and then that will tell us basically where we have to go at that point. And then we'll get Alan to wade in on this thing and plan the next steps. Hope that's the worst case. I'm hoping that maybe we can settle this and get our money back and move ahead with another contractor.
So when you say next meeting, you mean the next meeting in April, right?
Yes, the 28th.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, did we cover discussion, vote, update on purchasing of the
That's
generator?
what
That was
I
what
was
we were
That's
just
what we were
doing.
talking
Yeah.
about. So we're,
Okay, discussion, vote on engineering and design,
okay, we need to table all that.
we can table it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make one note about this. I think we need to track, because we haven't really considered the engineering to include all of this going back and forth about the generators fee, and we've spent a few, I don't know, over 5,000 on that so far. So I'm just wondering if we can track that.
Yeah.
If you could just send us something. I mean, I know that I talked to Deborah today about putting it into its own classification so that we can pull it up, but maybe just for the board's benefit, that we can somehow include that in our pricing, because we're paying that out of pocket. That's not part of the grant money.
It's how much we're spending for 3 generators, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't even get the generator.
So yeah, just so we can kind of track that, because I know we're gonna have to pay additional for the padding and the installation and all that stuff, just so we can keep an eye on that for the budget, which we're gonna be doing soon.
Yeah, no problem. We track it here, and so, it's by the month, so we can provide that. And I think you have it too, Tiffany.
Yeah, I mean, I typically probably tracking it.
Okay, so we're tabling.
We're not tabling, we're just gonna go on the 14th. I wanted to be able to.
Okay. Discussion, vote, update on the nitrate analyzer.
We got it.
Did I hear we received it?
We have received, well, we specifically haven't received it, but P&J has it. And I believe that they're supposed to be doing whatever it is that they need to do
We're
to get
sending
it
them a
installed.
check for that analyzer, out today,
30,000.
Mhm.
like
We,
$29,000.
I know I've seen some communications going back and forth on that with respect to sending the signals back to the office and getting in our SCADA system. And it looks like we have capability to do that. Jesse wants us to put that analyzer directly on the well output. We had preferred to put it someplace else, but we can do that. And also, he wanted that analyzer in the well building, but that well building is going to get demolished here pretty quick, we hope. And so, as part of the well 7 drilling project, so we want that put in the pump house in the regular the block building that is there on the site, which is different than the well house. The well house is a pretty small structure. The pump building really is plenty big, and we can put the analyzer in there and we can send the signals from there. So we don't have any problem with that.
So Dee, just a heads up, we can't really discuss it, but we have, the grand jury in Kern County was summoned to deal with this whole issue of the nitrates. And we just got a letter from them and their summary and what's proposed. And just a heads up that they do say some things about that nitrate analyzer. So So we definitely need to have it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we should probably also discuss it at the state meeting. And I didn't say anything to Oscar, but maybe we need to just send a little heads up to Oscar and Carlos to add that to the agenda, because they have a couple of recommendations that we just, nothing really too much, but just some things that they were saying about the nitrogen.
So we'll send you a copy of the grand jury report.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, we just found out about it today. So.
We just got it today.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
so moving on, number 16, discussion vote on General Manager Leadership Summit through CSTA.
So this was something Johnny asked me to put on the agenda. And I put the brochure in here. He said there were some topics, some good topics on here that would be beneficial for him to go. I think he'll have the he may decide later whether or not he's still able to go based on
I
his
don't,
personal.
yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to. 'Cause I
But
think
you
there's
can always leave it open if, if you approve him going. I think the conference is something maybe around $600, and then plus the cost of the.
Oh, so-
It's in down by San Diego.
Yes, I'm not.
so, well, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to move that we approve our general manager going to this leadership summit if he's able to, based on, the health concerns with his wife. I know that there may be some stuff coming up at that same time, so, but I'd like to have him be able to do that possibility. But if he does go, I'd like him to be able to focus on it, so I'm not sure it's good to go if he's, if he's gonna be too all over the place.
That was your whole message? What you,
I'm sorry, so
clarify that, please.
my motion, strike that. So I move that we tentatively approve our general manager to participate in this leadership summit in June, general manager leadership summit. With the caveat that if he is, has concerns, family medical concerns, that he skip it.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly. Aye. Director Schillinger.
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 4-0, 1 absent.
Okay, just hold on. Good night, Dee.
No, Dee, stay till the end. No, just kidding.
I mean, you could stay if you like, but
Well, I appreciate your company really and enjoy it, but I think
If you want to learn about Zoom rooms, you can stay.
I got some horses to feed at home, so I better get going.
Thank you,
Dinner,
Dee.
it's late.
I think I need to take some wrangling
Classes.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Dee. Discussion vote on equipment and solutions for hybrid meetings.
Okay, as you can tell, we do have our audio and visual difficulties trying to do these hybrid meetings. We don't have the equipment to do a professional. I do want to preface this with the fact that I am not an audio video technical expert. I'm giving you my best understanding from what they explained to me. So I'm winging it. Just, don't hold me to being an expert on this. So on the first page is the price breakdown for the annual charges
From Zoom.
from Zoom. We already do Standard Pro. We already do webinar. And the webinar is what allows us to stream directly from Zoom and have long meetings and have multiple participants. So that we're already doing. We're just paying it monthly as opposed to annually. So what we'd be adding is the Zoom room, and that annually is $4.99. But when we do take on Zoom room, they're going to want all of it as paid annually, once a year as a complete invoice. So when and if we're ready to actually do that. And Zoom Room, it's gonna give us the capability of using this new technology equipment that's later on in your package. And that'll help do like individual panels for the board members. It'll capture audio and video a lot better, and then it has all sorts of capabilities that I can't even begin to understand, but I know we'll need if we're gonna use the upgraded equipment. The multiple cameras, things like that. So that's that first one. And then the second page, if you can read it, that's the options from renting the equipment from Zoom directly.
5,000, 340.
Are you looking, it's the first page, Roma? So
Yeah.
it's, so if you're getting a neat bar and neat pad, it's $110 a month. If you're getting the monitor, which has the camera and the microphone, it's a 55-inch display monitor, that's $200 a month. And I'll talk a little bit more later, but that's the same equipment that's being offered later. A little bit, same general equipment, just different. But that's the monthly cost to get it from Zoom. But they do require, it may be like a 3-year contract if you're gonna lease equipment from them.
So this is the leasing?
That's leasing directly from Zoom. And
But
depending on
neat-
what you're looking
neat dot board,
no, you're on the wrong sheet, it's
Okay.
before that.
neat
No.
bar.
No, keep going. It looks
No,
like
Yeah,
this.
this is the neat bar, neat pad, neat.
You went
Yeah,
too
but he's
far.
looking at the purchase packet.
Oh, is it on Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
You went, yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
So what, you think we need all of this?
I'll talk a little bit more when we get into the next packet. So basically there's two options. The neat board is the actual, so it's a monitor like a TV monitor, except it has the camera and the audio built in. It'll actually have a lot more features than that. Whiteboard features, meaning you can write on the TV screen and everybody can see what you're doing. And it's just bigger technology advancement. The monitor would be on this one if we're purchasing, I think they said it's a 65-inch. So big TV looking
Yeah.
thing. It sits on a cart,
Yeah.
and the cart you have to move around. It's less portable, but remember you need something to look at. Like you're looking there to talk to people. It's the natural way to do the Zoom communication. So you're gonna want your audio and your TV together. But if you picture in a room where we put that, you have to be able to see it. If it sits directly here, it's gonna block, it's gonna sit in front of any audience if people sit down. So it'll be a little bit of technical, figuring out how it's gonna lay out. And it's pricey to own it. They're saying the neat board is $5,340 if you're gonna buy it from one of the vendors. And that's equipment alone. It doesn't cover installation or any technology type training.
And also no upgrades. No
Not when you
upgrades if
buy
the
it outright.
technology gets
Yeah,
old,
is
right?
this D10 the same thing? On the first page, it's the D10 more
It's
than a monitor?
smaller.
It's smaller, but is it the board? Or is it just a monitor? It's just a monitor.
I don't, why would
No,
we need to
the
be
It
writing
can't
that?
possibly be just a monitor for 200 a month.
No, the D10 is gonna have the built-in camera and audio.
Okay, so it's
It's gonna have-
basically the same thing, but slightly smaller.
It's smaller and it may not have the, like all the whiteboard technology and stuff like that that the neatboard has.
I don't think we need that.
But the other option, which Zoom also has, is the bar. So that's just a big bar. It looks like that. It's not the monitor, but it's the camera and the audio system. And you take that and you plug it into an existing TV. And that's how you would do you can plug it into any monitor if you're choosing. So what, I couldn't tell you whether or not this TV has the technology we need. I mean, it's, yeah, you'd have to have a smart TV. This is a smart TV. I don't know.
I
You
would
know, if
have
you
to
could
see the
Bluetooth it.
spec, I could tell you if I saw the specs for it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
because
I
it would have
used
to
to do
be
that for a
probably
living, but
Bluetooth and stuff like that, and I don't know if this, you know,
Most,
is.
most of them do.
well, yeah, I mean, it just totally depends on what the output, you know, it totally depends on what this is, what this has as far as outputs, and probably not, that's an older.
It's an older TV.
Where did
and-
we
And
get
this
this
is
one?
buying this right
That's-
out.
This
and
is,
that's
if it's
$3,200.
HDMI, then yes, but not,
Right, and that's with the knee pad. So the knee pad is how you control the Zoom. I'd have it, I'd sit here and control the Zoom meetings that way.
and what's the difference between that and the Poly Studio?
The one,
There's like a Poly Studio X30 and a Poly
I
Studio
think it's just
X50.
different brands, that's about it. Again, this is still preliminary information to get you an idea of pricing and what we're looking at. If you do have a preference either way, if you purchase the technology, you have to go through a vendor. They give consultant information, like a couple different companies, you call them, and then those companies then go ahead and come in and see what you have and what they would suggest. You have to buy the equipment through them. You can't buy it directly from manufacturers. And then probably they would have a lot more information on the technical aspects and how we get it done and what would work for us. Or we could, if you want to look more into the Zoom, then maybe we can get a Zoom expert to come in.
Yeah,
and
because like just reading this, the neat bar self-activates the moment you walk into the room.
Yeah,
Turn
that's
on your
Zoom.
meeting, so that could be a problem. We would have to like really know that we're, the minute we walk in here, we're live.
I'm sure you can, I
Well,
mean, you
but
don't
I
have
mean,
to do it that way.
But I was gonna say,
It's
you
just-
and you guys walking in and out to go to even to your offices, it would say, oh, somebody's there.
Yeah, I think that's something we can turn on and off.
I'm sure you can.
You know, that's like for the big professional meeting rooms, you know. They want to walk in and start a meeting, then it's brainless and it does it for you. But I think looking at the pricing, if you have kind of a first preference, like start with this, then I'll get somebody to maybe do more of an explanation, maybe more of a personal presentation as to what
Well, I got,
what they think we need, but it's cost and it's installation.
but the thing is if we have to do what they suggested in the grand jury thing, we aren't gonna be here. We're gonna, so it'll have to be bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, if we
And so-
want to offer hybrid while we're in the park building, one, we don't know if it's possible because we have to have Wi-Fi. Two, if we could, you're gonna want something portable because I'm guessing that the whole 55 to 65 inch monitor all the way over there is a little bit cumbersome and odds of you damaging your equipment
Yeah.
is probably.
I think we're
pretty
gonna
good.
be able to negotiate on that part of the grand jury report. I know that that's not part of this meeting, but
Yeah, but the hybrid is, remember, these hybrid meetings are optional. It's not required. And you guys are trying to do the best you can to give more options to the public.
Well,
We're Mickey Mousing it now, and it's
yeah,
maybe okay.
but I think the hybrid, the Zoom thing was mostly for Pam and Dee and Oscar and.
Yeah, any
and
consultants. and
Those people,
Mhm.
it
Because they're
wasn't,
so far away.
yeah, it wasn't because we needed it for Fraser Park residents. That's not what we were,
They benefit from it for sure.
they benefit from it, but that's not what our main concern was.
Mhm.
Director Schoenberg?
Well, I think moving forward that we're gonna want to continue to do some sort of virtual room.
Mhm.
Because we do have a lot of consultants or an attorney, all kinds of people that come, and it's really a headache for them to drive up.
And we
So,
may have
yeah, and if they're able to share their screen, because we have bigger screens or we have multiple screens, so it's a little easier. We have something we can look at physically on our desk, which is what I would hope for.
But you can, I mean, they showed pricing for the pads, they're a few hundred each, but you could have one per station.
Or
You
even
probably
share
want that
one.
for a meeting.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I'm of the mind that it's better to rent this stuff, even though it's expensive. When you lease equipment, the beauty is that, you know, with technology, it's obsolete so quickly. And if, you know, we would have to check with them to make sure we're not locked into the old technology, that we're able to upgrade throughout our lease period. But if we are, then it makes much more sense to lease. You know, and so I think we just need more information. I mean, we don't have, you know, the specs for these things or anything. So
I think right now it was just like, what direction do you want to look
Right.
into first? That way I can contact either the Zoom sales or the actual companies, the technical companies, if you want to purchase the equipment.
So do we just need a general consensus of the board members here?
Kind of which direction to lean first, I guess.
Personally, I agree with Director Schellenberg that leasing is the only way to go. And I think definitely Zoom is going to be in our future. And we might be kicking ourselves if we don't do it now.
And I think that through better technology and the ability to open up this room, you know, I know we can't talk about this yet, but based on some recommendations that we may be able to say, hey, you know, we didn't upgrade our building, you know, but we are making it really accommodating and easy for people to join us electronically. And, you know, then we can deal with other stuff. But, and then I would almost say for something like the public hearing we're gonna do, that we either just do it live and not worry about virtual, or we do you know, an easy virtual like what we're doing now. It may not be perfect, but it allows additional access to someone who might be ill and doesn't want to be in a building with a bunch of people with, you know, can't wear the mask or whatever. Whatever. So yeah, I think we should move forward and not, we're not agreeing on anything yet, but we should see what's offered in the lease package, how often the equipment upgrades, you know, whether we're stuck for 3 years, which might not be so great. But we would be stuck if we purchased probably for a few years too. So yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
I concur.
What do the other directors think?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I don't see buying something because, I'm sorry, technology does go out, you know, and they say, you know, 3 years, and then you're gonna be out buying it again.
Maybe you saw the price points on that. How much that technology costs, just base price.
Yeah, I in agreement with the board as far as I think we should lease. So we should look towards Zoom and get some more information and see what they can provide. Because I don't see us purchasing, you know, all this equipment and then having it be obsolete in 3 years, and then we have to spend, you know, another exorbitant amount of money to have it. So.
And I don't think we
More
need the
like
whiteboard thing.
a year or two, you know,
Yeah.
because it just is moving quickly.
Right, so what if I shoot for the May regular meeting, maybe even have Zoom, a representative, if that's something they do, come to, you know, speak at the board meeting.
Speak on Zoom. and
Well,
show us
Zoom will be on
everything.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you know, the Zoom marketing, if they want to market to us, then they need to, you know, market to us.
Or bring it in here.
Okay,
and let's-
I make a motion that we continue the meeting because we're past 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Second. Finish business.
Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
I
Director Kellen,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Gibson, aye, 4-0, 1 absent. Moving on. Are we done discussing Zoom?
Yes.
Yep, we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they're willing to come and set some stuff up, that would be the best to show us. I don't know if they're
Well,
willing.
that ain't gonna happen. They probably call us,
I
right?
mean, well, at least, yeah, be on Zoom and give a presentation and more information and answer questions.
Yeah. I got a question. Is our internet up here enough for all of this? I mean, here in the building? Because I know we already
Yeah, that's a good
have
question.
problems.
That's a very good question. That's something they'd be able to answer. We're doing it now. I don't think it's our internet stopping us. I think it's our low budget.
Yeah, because Zoom, a lot of that stuff happens on the platform, so it's not as dependent on, I mean, it's still dependent on your internet, but.
Okay.
Okay. Review and approve meeting minutes for 3/10/2022 regular meeting.
I'll kick this out quickly.
Director Schoenberg,
I would like to move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, 3/10/2022, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
okay, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Why?
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 4-0.
No, you can't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I abstained.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's 3-0, no,
No, 3-1-1.
3-1.
3-0-1-1.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, Kelly. Carrie G. Okay,
I would like to move
yes, Director
that
Schoenberg.
we approve the state update meeting minutes for Thursday, 3/17/2022, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Sorry.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, and aye. So 4-0, 1 absent. Director Schoenberg,
I would like to move that we approve the regular state planning and project meeting minutes for 3/24/2022, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
okay, roll call, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 4-0, 1 absent. Discussion vote on future agenda items.
I think we got it pretty
We got
well.
lots.
Yeah.
And you are gonna put the grand jury thing on the next, on,
The grand jury will be on
Okay.
20th.
so, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Gibson, aye, 4-0, 1 absent. Nice.